Welcome to the PPC podcast. Welcome. Today it's me and Mike.
Mike, I'm here. I brought all of the equipment at one point, and I haven't got to play with it here, and it's set up good. I think we got it rolling.
Yeah, man. We were just talking how this is the most professional one looking yet. So
I've still got the mic in front of my face, but it'll be all right.
So Mike, we shut him out a while ago with bringing all this stuff, and then finally he came and actually showed me how to use it. So we're finally here. What's your full name?
Mike Fitzpatrick.
No extra.
No, Michael Aaron Fitzpatrick, but I only get called that whenever I'm in trouble. So
yeah.
Like when the wife is really upset with me.
When was the last time you heard that? Michael Aaron.
Oh, jeez. Like yesterday.
So it's actually often.
It's like I get hit with that at the same time that Oliver's getting hit with Oliver Reeves Fitzpatrick. I'm like, how am I brought into this? Like, she's like, I have 2 children. I'm like, well, that is true.
Man, Michael Aaron Fitzpatrick. That is official.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be.
I'm not related to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I actually used to mess with people and tell them that story a lot.
Yeah.
And they were like, everybody believed it. Because like I played sports and I'm like, yeah, Ryan's like my distant cousin. Like, yeah. Like plays for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
How often would you get that though?
Like all the time.
Yeah.
When he started getting really famous in the NFL with the beard and everything, and they were like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, he's my cousin. It's all good.
Yeah. That's funny. I would get Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
That would be mine.
Yeah. Or Saeed from Lost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling Angie that on the way here. I was like, Phil gives me a very Saeed vibe. Like he's in there punching that code in so the monster doesn't come and kill us all.
But yeah, they would be so dry, and I'm sure like you can relate to the like, oh yeah, I know, like the Ryan Fitzpatrick. You hear it and it's like, dude, you know, give me a new one.
No, the worst thing is like when people get your last name wrong, because I'm Fitzgerald all the time. I'm like, that is definitely not how it's spelled.
Fitzgerald. Yeah.
I'm like, there's a P, an A, a T, R, and a CK. Like what? Where do you get Gerald from?
You never get St. Patrick?
No.
I would get Silver.
Silver?
I literally haven't gotten that since middle school, and I got a paper printed the other day, handed to me, and it said Phil Silvers on it. And it was PTSD, flashed back. Yeah. I was like, man, I feel like
I would totally just embrace the silver thing.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate it. One time in elementary school, it was Saliva. That made me cry.
That would be.
Yeah, that was a sad one.
Yeah.
They said Phil Saliva, and then I didn't talk to them. But yeah, Silver, Saliva. So you get Fitzgerald a lot.
Yeah, Fitzgerald is like the main thing that I get all the time. I'm like, do you guys not know how to read? Like, it's clearly not Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, how you doing with Sacred Season?
Dude,
we're day 3 now?
Yeah, Sacred Season's been incredible. Sacred Season, day 3, but a lot of people started last week. So it's kind of half in. But yeah, dude, Sacred Season for me is right now it's the best it's ever been. Sacred Season. So like something that I've realized already was in previous Sacred Seasons, I would kind of step into it very. Is this your first second one?
No, I want to say it's our third or fourth, maybe. I don't even know.
So for like me, Sacred Seasons before, I remember, like I would approach it very specifically the prayer, like the big Sacred Season prayer. Yeah. I would approach it very full of faith, but the prayer itself would be very vague.
Yeah.
Because that's
so there was like no win, like you weren't gonna get a win,
dude. Literally, and I realized this year, like I think the reason I did it before, I would say it was like, you know, I just want whatever God's gonna answer in my life. But I think I realized this year, like I think I approached it very vague because there was this sense of like I wouldn't be disappointed if it didn't happen.
Yeah, like a little mild of like I've got this much faith, kind of like what Pastor said that like I've got seven towel faith right now.
Yes, straight up, literally. So I would approach it with this mindset of I want God to answer this, you know, big thing that's kind of like broad, like, you know, and it was like important stuff, you know, like one of them was like my purpose and stuff like that, but it was never like these are the things that I'm praying for. So this year it's been super different. Like there were 3 things that God literally put on my heart, specific things that I am praying that he can do. And something in that was like, I think so often we do that though, is like
Yeah.
we almost give God a prayer that we expect him to be able to do.
Yeah.
Like I
Or
think
we
you
expect to be able to achieve ourselves.
yeah. It's like this should be able to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pray for it, because if it doesn't happen, then I can kind of just chalk it up to like it just didn't work out, or like this fits within what I think God can do anyway.
Yeah.
So like I should be able to wake up joyful. So I'm just gonna pray that like hopefully I get a little bit of joy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like no, pray for like for you to have the most joy that you've ever had in your life,
Yeah.
for it to change you. Expect God to do literally the insane in your life.
Yeah, like something very specific.
Yeah, and like toss the ceiling up. Like he's God. You know what I mean? Like he is the creator of the universe.
I think it's tough though. Like the first couple of sacred seasons that we came into, there was something going on in our life that was some sort of turmoil that we needed to pray about. Whether it be our marriage was in a tough spot at that point, and we're trying to make our way through that tough spot in our marriage. So that's our very pointed thing that we're praying for in sacred season. Where it gets tough, especially with where we're at right now, is we are blessed right now, and so it becomes more in a season that like my wife and I are in, is we're finding our sacred season prayer being something for someone else.
Yeah.
Like we work through us to help this person, or work through us to help this area of church or whatever it might be, or at my workplace. So it's definitely tougher when you don't like have something very, very direct to fix. You end up starting to wanting to fix like other things for other people.
Yeah.
When you get enough God in your heart to be like, oh, well, like I don't need anything, but
Yeah.
like who can I help through this process?
100%. And that's the coolest part of sacred season, because that's literally the abundance of it, like in action.
Yeah.
Is like at some point, and that's what our lives kind of are meant to be painted like. It's like you step into something with Jesus, and he takes you from this place, and then it starts to become like naturally you just start to think in a way that is like, man, I have abundance. I need to pour out on somebody else. I need to put this somewhere else.
Yeah, that like mine this year is more just like trying to like having him soften my heart to the place, because like my biggest like battle with being a Christ follower for the first couple of years of coming back was kind of losing like that tenacity. Like I was like, oh man, if I become a Christian, like that alpha male side of me is going to go away, you know? Like, so he's been working on me hard. Like, no, I need warriors. Like I need somebody to be a warrior for me, and like be a warrior to bring other people to Christ. And so like, that's my sacred season prayer for myself this year, is just to keep listening to that and keep understanding what that means. 'Cause I would always like playing sports, like the Christian kids playing sports were like, they were kind of soft,
right.
you know,
Right.
I'm not going to lie. But like I've seen through the work of like how hard pastor is on us sometimes. Like it's pretty cool to see that you can still be very powerful in his name, you know?
100%.
'Cause pastor has hit me with some spiritual assault and battery.
Yeah. Man.
through the years.
That's him. That yeah.
Which I went up to him after I think it was a Wednesday night or something, or a prayer night. And I was like, hey man, I needed that so bad, but that was some assault and battery, like spiritual assault and battery. Yeah. And I love it.
And that shows that you know him, because if you haven't received that part of him, there's something being reserved. So like that's 100%. And
he's always like, pastor's very good at like finding that person that like he keeps at an arm's length, but he's like dragging them tooth and nail to where he wants them to go through God. And he's so incredible at that.
Yeah, 100%. So man, literally like me and Mike are talking here, but like this is one of our first in-depth conversations that we'll be having. So I feel like there's still so much like that I don't even know about you. But we're tight and we have this like connection. So where are you from, man? Like let's start
we jumped right feet first into it. I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana originally.
Okay.
We've been here in Myrtle Beach since 1999. So I'm pretty much from Myrtle Beach. I moved here and I went to kindergarten or first grade here on up.
So how old were you when you were
Like
Move.
5,
Okay.
4 or 5.
Cool.
So my wife is from here. Of course, my son's from here. He's born here. And grew up through the school system. Went to Lakewood Elementary, Forestbrook Middle School. Went to Soxie High School. So I was a senior. Actually, everybody knows Hunter Renfro. So I was a senior
Who's
when
Hunter Renfro?
he plays for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Gotcha.
Not Los Angeles, no, Las Vegas Raiders.
Gotcha.
So he was a freshman whenever I was a senior.
Okay.
And great godly family. Like
Yeah.
Hunter and his, I think they've got like 6 kids or 5 kids, and Coach Renfro was the coach of the school.
Awesome.
And he's good influence to bring up all of his players through Christ and those kind of things.
Awesome.
There's never a cuss word on the field, so
Nice,
that's kind of how it was brought up.
Yeah.
I quickly evaded that and then came back to God, but yeah, I've been back following Christ for probably, I'd say 2.5, 3 years now, and fought it pretty hard to begin with, but it's been good. It's been a journey. I've been through a lot in my life through the years, and I kind of told my story when Pastor laid it on everybody to kind of give a testimony and those kind of things, but was dealt some really tough stuff at a young age, and it really, I think I was 8 or 9 years old and had to have a conversation with myself of like, hey dude, like, are you going to be a victim or are you going to like win? And I decided that like the victim mentality wasn't going to work for me.
No.
And I knew God at that time, and I would say, God, like,
so your family grew up, like what kind of background did they have?
We've always been non-denominational.
Yeah.
For
Awesome,
the
man.
whole time. So I didn't.
But Christian from day one.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So my dad, like, we weren't like heavily into it whenever I was a kid. It was, hey, let's go to church because it's Sunday type of thing.
Yeah.
But he started getting more into following God later in life, because through the years my dad was a drinker. And he quit that, like, I think I was a sophomore in high school, and like he just cold turkey. Like God took that away from him, and like he was clean ever since then, and he really started pursuing God after that, and he's been a good role model for that, and of like, hey, listen, if I can do it, you can do it, because
you and Pops have a good relationship.
Yeah. It's I mean, we've been in business together for a while too, so like we had a rocky relationship at one point, being in business together.
That's interesting.
So that was pretty fun times, being in business and in the insurance business with him. We're pretty much a lot alike. Like we both want to do things the way we want to do things, and there's a clash with that at times, but there's also great collaborative that comes out of that at times, because we're both hard-headed and say, hey, this is the way it should be done, or this, and then like at some point those collide and it gets done a certain way. But I run a mortgage company now, and I was with his insurance company, decided, hey, insurance is definitely not for me, and decided that I was going to go out on my own and start a mortgage company. I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now.
Wow.
Well, actually, it's 6 now. I got into the mortgage business when I was 22. So.
Wow. You get kind of in that route where you said 3 to 4 years for a long time, so then now it's like years later. That was my mom when she was 38. She was 38 for like 10 years.
Yeah. Well,
like
after I turned like
38.
25, I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I don't want to get any older than 25. Because then your car insurance goes down and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is nice. You get married and you turn 25, your car insurance gets cheaper, and a lot of stuff gets cheaper.
So 25 is the peak.
Yeah,
man. I'm trying to peak at like 65, like like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
you know,
Jeff
Goldblum's like, he's up there and he's still like, he's super youthful.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I'm living to 150.
Dude, 150.
As I walk in with a Red Bull, and my heart's gonna explode.
Man, so mortgage company for 6 years. How did you get after high school? What was your kind of path? Where did you? So you stopped. You kind of walked away from Christ at high school, and then career wise, you kind of did what? Yeah.
So like, whenever I was in high school, my sophomore year of high school, I was the most angry because I peaked on the angry scale in sophomore year. I don't know if you saw the Antonio Brown thing recently where he ripped off all of his pads and ran off the field.
No, I didn't see the update.
So I'm the OG of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I literally in the middle of a football game, and I'm not saying this proudly, like I was a complete crazy person. I took my helmet off, threw it at a coach, took my shoulder pads off, threw them on the ground, had to jump a fence to get out of the stadium.
Do you remember what the line was when you said it? Was there like a, I guess you probably can't repeat it, huh?
No,
I don't know if you had like a cinematic like.
No, it was more, hey, I told you guys to call that play 5 times, and then the coach's son gets put in the game, and you call the play that I said to call 5 times, and we scored twice on that play. And I said, you guys can have it. I'm out of here.
Gotcha.
And I was just a hothead, but like I was dealing with a lot of emotions. I was dealing with the scars of being a kid and dealing with what I dealt with as a kid and all of that goes into the mental side of that and just being so angry. But in that moment is where, because I was away from God, I was drinking all the time. I mean, I was only, I would have been 14, 15 years old at that time. And I was probably drinking every day.
Wow.
And when that happened and I sat down in the locker that night and I'm putting my stuff back on, I said, uh-oh. Because all I ever wanted to do was play football. I said, uh-oh, you might have just gotten rid of that for yourself. Like that's probably gone.
Wow.
And I said, you got to figure this out. So I went home and of course at first reaction, like my dad was so mad. My family was mad. They were disappointed in the way that I acted. And then the good thing is like, they didn't really come at me. They just decided to let me figure it out for myself. And through that, I felt like God spoke to me because within a week I had so much calm come over my life and like just this calmness that said, get into the word, get into reading books. So I read, what got me back into reading the Bible was, a book by Tony Dungy called Quiet Strength. And he references quite a few Bible verses in that book. And like, ever since then, like I've read all the time. I read a bunch of like sales coaching novels and those kind of things. So it really, ever since then, like if you ask anybody that's around me, they're like, that dude's probably the most level-headed person that I've ever been around. And I just don't have like peak anger moments. I don't get, I for the most part, don't get down in the dumps a whole lot. Now with depression that runs in my family, if I get down there, it's down. Like it's bad. But, overall, I think that at that moment is when I started following Christ again. And then went into college and found out that I wasn't following him again whenever I was in college for a year. But Taylor was here, my wife was here, and I was like 3 hours away, and I was a teenager.
You met her in high school or college?
Yeah, we've been together since high school.
High school?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
awesome.
So I'm 28, she's 27, and we have been dating or married for at least 11 years.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Marriage is a lot of work.
I've heard.
It's a huge blessing, but they don't call it an institution for no reason. No, but like the institution of marriage is a huge blessing, and when you're following God, it just takes all of the pressure off of it too. Like this is what He says we should do in our marriage, and like this is the rule book. So it's pretty cool, but like bouncing around all over the place now. But yeah, it's once I got football taken away from me in college because I got hurt, that's whenever I started down the path of like trying to figure out who I was from a career standpoint, and really just fumbled my way through and found out, all right, I've been around sales my whole life because my dad has owned a insurance sales company for forever. So I was stuffing envelopes at 8 years old, 5 years old, I was stuffing envelopes for him to send out mailers to try to make sales. And I said, no, I'll never do that. I will never work in an office. And here I am.
There you are.
Working in an office every day. And I absolutely love it. I'm like, people think I'm so weird. I'm like, I am in the office at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And like, I'm there till 6. And like, I don't even feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
Like I'm just having fun. I've got Christian hip hop playing in the background now, which is crazy how good that music is getting.
Man. Who are you listening to right now?
The typical one's Lecrae, but Andy Mineo can get after
Andy
it.
Mineo's a beast.
Yeah,
Andy Mineo's a beast.
that boy
man.
can spit.
Yes.
Like he is just he's got some crazy lyrics in some of his songs too. I'm like,
You know Derek Minor? You listen to him at all? KB.
yeah, yeah.
What's the one?
NF says that he's not a Christian rapper, but like he definitely is.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, well, you wouldn't go to a lawyer's office and say he's a Christian lawyer. I'm like, yeah, but like
Some people do.
God is in all of your lyrics. Just glorify him. Like, why are you dancing around it? But yeah. I'm like right now, music. I love music. I have no rhythm. Terrible. Like I can't sing. I can't do any of that. I can hear it.
You never learned an instrument or anything?
No,
Man.
no. I haven't tapped into that left side of the brain. But yeah, that's the journey that I'm on right now. I'm like really intrigued at hearing like all of these different new artists that are coming into the Christian game.
Yeah.
Like some of it is really good. Like
It is, man. And the cool part is like the biggest thing from I'm huge into music too, and I always I was a big hip hop guy, but like in general, when I first gave my life to Christ, I remember like there were a lot of people around me that was like very very forward in like cutting off literally everything in your life that isn't Christian, like entertainment, like everything that isn't Christian. And I remember like for a while it was like I don't really, like even to that extent where it's like that much, I don't. But I remember like thinking to myself like, man, why is this music like making me like it literally makes me feel different, Like, and I'm not talking about worship. I'm talking about like Christian hip hop, or like Christian rooted things. And it was like, man, I would literally find myself where the beat's dope, but like when I actually listen to it, it's like I'm like crying, man. Like there's like
it's crazy.
Actually, there's like actually like deep rooted the scripture and things in there that when you're living in that and you're like living by faith and you're kind of in that space of just like I'm just trying to get through the day, and you hear something like that and you kind of like it kind of hits you like, man, this is somebody that is like that is like a brother, like in Christ, there's like a brotherhood there, like there's
that goes back to like what I was saying about losing like that alpha male or losing like that hypeness. Like that is the thing that I was the most scared of. The thing that I fought the most about coming back to Christ is like how do I like what music do I listen to get hype in the morning to like go conquer the day? Yeah. And I would say like 5-6 years ago that's when it started getting really good. Yeah. Before that, Christian music was tough. Like it was tough to listen to.
I agree, bro. I agree. But that's the cool part about like if you just take people in general and their calling, and it's like we're meant to be creatives, man. Like God is a creative God, and He made us so that we could also create. And so like,
and I think that's what's important about getting youth to Christ, because when you get more youthful people, and I'm not saying this, no disparagement to the older generation, because we definitely need their wisdom and 1,000%. We definitely need them in our lives. But for us, for the younger generation that wants to follow Christ, the more younger people that we get to follow Christ, the more fun it is, because the more collaborative and the more creative that it becomes. And I think that that's really the turning point that I've seen in the Christian faith over the last 3 or 4 years is the music's gotten really good. Yeah. Like we're getting a lot more youth into the game, I call it, but it's definitely gotten a lot better. Yeah,
I agree, man. And it's promising too. Like it's not it's not like on a downward trajectory. It's like there's more being created. There's different being created. There's like even you take music itself, but even like the worship setting atmosphere type things. Like if you look at the worship videos, whereas before, like if you were to look at the hottest worship song that came out in like early 2000s, like the music video for it would be very like, it'd be like a forest and like, and it would cut, literally, it would be like a band playing and it would cut to like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
It's just like our generation, because we're part of the same generation, even though there's a little bit of a gap, but like our generation genuinely like wants to be a part of something. I was on another business podcast and he was like, so what do you think of like the millennials? I'm like, millennials are not lazy. They just want to be a part of something bigger. So when it comes to the Christ side of things, and we're trying to get younger people, Gen X and millennials over to Christ, like they want to be part of something that's kind of fun, kind of hype, like having a good time and moving around and being part of something bigger with scriptures on walls and like cool T-shirts and swag and those kind of things. And I think that like Pastor said something that was really interesting on Sunday, which was if you go and seek him, you will find him.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, well, the Christian faith is on a downturn, and they're saying that the crazies are taking over the world, but like that's because that's what you're seeking. If you seek him, you will find him. You're not going to see all that craziness anymore, because I don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I used to see it all over Facebook, all the negativity, all that kind of stuff. Well, like I'm seeking God now, and when I see that, I unfollow it.
Yeah.
And now I don't see no more.
Yeah, man.
And life is good.
Yeah, it's literally what you look for, you'll find, man.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing of like, man, there's never Jeeps around, and then you buy a Jeep and you're like, man, there's a million
There's
Jeeps around.
everywhere. Like I didn't know that there were so many Wranglers. They sold 5 million in 10 years.
Yeah, that's so true, bro. Even like different creative things though, like in this space. Like, have you seen that that show Chosen?
I have seen previews for it. I haven't seen it, but my son watches Superbook. And Superbook,
I haven't heard of Superbook.
Superbook is a cartoon about, like, it's very technology based, but it's a cartoon about like God, and they call it the Superbook, but it's Bible stories.
Oh wow, that's dope.
And like it's this little like technology thing, and like they get in trouble, and they're like, well, you need to like this is the lesson that you should learn by this, and Superbook book pops up, and it takes them back in time to whatever the Bible story is, and like the kids are learning while following, like watching Jesus, and it's super cool. It's a super cool cartoon.
Dude, that sounds incredible. I had VeggieTales.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a step up from VeggieTales, man.
Ollie loves it too. Like he's locked in whenever it comes on.
Dang, man. Were you big into anything like that as a kid? Did you have any of those?
No, I mean, cartoon wise, I was Dragon Ball Z whenever I was a kid.
Dragon Ball Z, yeah.
Yeah, I was majorly into that.
I definitely had that stuff. But like at Sunday school and stuff like that, it would be VeggieTales. You ever heard of Bible Man?
No, see,
bro.
like
as soon as we're done with this, I'm sending you a picture of Bible Man.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in like the Sunday school stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So that was tough.
Yeah. Well, Bible Man is a superhero that's purple and gold, and he is he's literally
like a real man, or is it a cartoon?
It was a real man.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there was a live action Bible Man.
That is awesome.
And it was like in the 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, I got to check this
Bible
out.
Man, yeah.
We got to reenact this on stage, on stage with youth one time.
Trunk or treat, man. Trunk or treat.
Yeah, that's my costume next year. Bible Man.
Bible Man. Dude, you get respect. You would get mad respect.
That is awesome.
But back to the show, like Chosen, I just started watching. I've been hearing about it all. I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard about it. But like I just started watching it a week ago because I was in quarantine, and dude, it is incredible. Like just the approach to the cast, like the approach to Jesus and like how he is. He's so personable. Like, dude, Jesus makes jokes in the show. Yeah, which is like,
I feel like
you don't think about that, but it's like, yeah, you don't think about that, but when you're watching it, you're like, man, Jesus had to have joked. You know what I mean? Like he had to.
Well, like in some of the scriptures, he's like the way that it's written, it doesn't come off as a joke, but he's like being quippy back to his disciples, like, "Oh, you don't believe in me? Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah." Or like
haven't you seen my miracles?
Exactly. Or they're bickering, and he shuts them down and is like, "No." And so a lot of those moments that you kind of like, some people would imagine, but if you're just reading scripture, it's like you kind of just like assume that untouched, personality of like, even in like Passion of the Christ, where it's like he's very like, because he is very intense and very, like he's not intense in that way, but very, I mean, he's the Son of God, like it's Jesus, but in The Chosen, like you can see it kind of like he's like playing with the kids, and he kind of like, so it's like this cool, and then you take the disciples even, and it's like a dynamic of the disciples with each other, that you don't really, you imagine a little bit, but in that show it kind of plays it out, and it's just like this cool new twist or a different way to think about a lot of the stories. And I was having a conversation with Kyle the other day, and he mentioned, and we were just talking, and he mentioned like something you don't think about in Chosen or like when you're watching, or when you're thinking about like dynamic of church today, and then you watch a show like that, is how much the disciples disagreed with each other.
Yeah.
Like how much they were in discord, or not even discord, but how much they really didn't agree on a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, Jesus was herding cats there for a little
Dude,
bit. Like,
literally.
he was like, what
Yeah.
are you guys doing? Like,
And you look at them interacting with each other, like imagine, and then you look at church today and how we have disagreements, or how we approach things differently. And like, we think it's the end of the world, and we're kind of like, man, I don't know how we can get through this. But it's like, dude, imagine you're trying to minister to somebody and you got a guy with you that's willing to like cut a guy's ear off. You know what I mean? Like, if me and you go witness, and then you're like, dude, boom. And I'm like, bro, we're Christians. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And that's like literally the disciples. Like, that's the level of disagreement that they would be on. And they were still able to be so focused on Jesus that like they were unified, because it didn't matter. Like it was about Jesus. It was like, we are following him. We can push through all of this. Like it doesn't matter what it is. We're following him. And so it's cool, like being able to have that kind of approach to it. But
yeah, I would definitely love to check it out, because whenever I pray like he's my homie.
yeah.
So like my prayer is very like, Jesus, man, like this was a rough day. Bro, I need some help. Like, need some help. And like, to me, that just creates a different level of personalness.
Yeah, there's a layer to
than
it.
trying to be like very, and everybody prays differently. So like, that's just my version of like, I want to view him as my friend. Like, I want to view him as somebody that I can come to and talk to about anything. I don't want it to be so structured in my life to where like I feel like I am I don't know how to put it, like
You get to
like
put
scared.
it on for him.
Like try to put it on for him, or try to be scared to like come and talk to him because I don't have the right words. Like, I'm just gonna talk to him.
Yeah. And there's so many layers to that, even like there, and that's the cool, that to me, that is one of the in moments where I'm reflecting on my relationship with him, one of the coolest things is how layered it is.
Yeah.
Like, he is my friend. He is my Lord. He is my, like when I'm talking to God, he's my father. So like, there's so many of those, like there's moments where I'm like, God, I don't even know what's happening. I need something right now. Like, I need something.
Now, if I've done something wrong, I definitely talk to him like he's my dad. I'm like, Dad,
right.
I totally messed this up.
And then there are those moments where you're in awe and you're just like, you are creator, and like it's all in your hands.
Yeah.
And and it's like those layers of it. It's like, it's a perfect, that's what make it, it is a perfect love. There is so much to who he is that it is all encompassing. He is perfect.
And I found myself recently, like, I don't know how you did this. I don't know how this has all come together this way. Like, you told, like, I could hear you say to do this, and I jumped, and it all just happened. Yeah. Like, it just all came together. Now, I had to walk. Like, I had to go fight for the promise, like what we talked about on Sunday. But it has been crazy to see my life unfold over the last 6 years. And I don't say that with pride. I don't say that with like, hey, look at me. It's hey, this is my testimony of if I can do it. I'm not the most intelligent person in the world. Like, I'm not that smart. But when he talks, I listen and I run.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his faithfulness, man, in your life. It's apparent. It's cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to hear about, man. So like, even through this process the past couple years, who has been who has been spiritual mentors? Who are you able to have spiritual conversation with? Do you have that? Like,
honestly, like it's mainly been like directly pastor. Yeah. For whatever reason, like he and I click really well mentally. So we've had a lot of talks. We've had some really hard talks. My wife and I have sat in his office and had some really hard talks, and that's the full transparency of what happens when you start following God. There's a lot of stuff that starts getting put in front of you that the devil, that enemy, he's going to try. Yeah. He's going to try to fight you and make you not believe. And I actually heard something really interesting the other day. I don't think that the devil necessarily tries to say and like put these thoughts into your head to go do something crazy. his main function is to make us not believe, which allows us to go do crazy
100%.
things.
It's deception. Yeah,
so
it's
I think
100%.
that was the most profound thing that I've heard in a while of like, all right, these thoughts are because of the doubt that he's put inside of me. He's not powerful enough to put these thoughts in my head. He's just powerful enough to put enough doubt in my head to where I go, oh. And that's why you got to chase Christ and chase after him, because you got to understand that he's there and he's real and he's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And Pastor Jamie has been that mentor that he is he's definitely been hard on me at times. And I think that like what he's done for me is I know that he has something that he's concocting. I feel like Pastor's got something that he's concocting.
Man, he always does, man.
And for my life or for whatever I'm going to do here
I guarantee you
at some point.
Yeah.
And like whenever I have faltered, I'm like, man, he put this vision on me, and like I let him down, and I let God down, and like so it's helped me to stay straight in a lot of areas too.
Yeah, man, I bet that's cool though. I think going into 2022, because we're 4 days removed now.
Yeah.
Speaking, by the way, when do you stop saying Happy New Year? When's the cutoff?
I fell asleep at 8:30 that night, so like I didn't say Happy New Year to anybody. But I had somebody say it to me today, and I'm like,
man, I did not expect that answer, man.
No.
So you didn't even going into it, there was like, there is no Happy New Year.
It's just another year. Like there's so much that has gone on over the last like 24 months. So you got COVID that started like March of 2020. So like what I guess we're 21 months or so.
Man, that's true. It feels like the past 3 years have all been like just one big conglomerate of time.
Yeah, and it's like so we have been under, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. We have been under so much emotional stress for the last 21 months, we'll call it, that like nobody's understanding that when you get down, it's because you have been bombarded with information that says you could die tomorrow.
But does that make you think like, this is a really left thought. So like, and I'm talking like left field, like it's random, like it's out of nowhere. Doesn't it make you think with stuff like aliens, right? I know I'm going here. It's random. All right. I'm not saying whether or not I believe in aliens, but it's almost like if they were hiding that information, it's probably because the public can't handle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you literally just look at the last 21 months.
Yeah. We've gone crazy.
Yeah.
That's
like
kind of what I'm saying. Like we
Yes.
have been under so much emotional turmoil. Like people have lost family members and
Yes.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
People have lost family members. Now we're dealing with sudden deaths that like have no explanation.
Yeah.
We're being told that there's a different variant every other day. Like there's so much that's gone on over the last 21 months. I couldn't imagine not being a Christ follower because it would be scary. Like
And
it would be like
you
really,
you nailed it. You nailed
really
it.
depressing and scary.
You nailed it, because it's literally everybody that starts to get on that level of conversation about what's going on. If you believe in Jesus, you have an answer that a lot of people don't have, and they need it. Like it is literally time is now to tell people about this thing that you have, this relationship that you have, that literally changes everything inside of you to be able to walk a life in this time. Like, I agree, man.
Yeah.
I could not imagine.
There's so much
without it.
information bombardment on us right now, and it's like, it's just crazy to think. Like, what would you be thinking as like if you didn't know Jesus right now? And you're seeing all of this, you're seeing the political side of things, and like we will definitely never go politics on this. But you've seen the political side of things, you're seeing the variant, you're seeing the economic side of things, you're seeing all the different stuff that's going on in the world. Like, if I wasn't a Christ follower, I'd be pretty depressed. I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah, life would be upside down. Yeah, 100%. And you just layer that with like how much people already have going on individually.
Yeah.
And then like just the whole concept of trying to wrap my head around that. Yeah, man. That's
because you have
I have
like
no clue.
everything
My
that's
life would be
happened, you
bars.
have zero control over.
Yes.
You have no control over any of it. So you're either going to say it's in Christ's hands and it is what it is, or you're going to be like, how do I control all of this that's going on around me? Which you can't. You're not going to control COVID going up in your nose and getting COVID. Right. Like you can't control that unless you barricade yourself into your house and never come out. But it's just one of those things that, like, for me, this craziness has led me to a deeper relationship with God 100%. Because I have always been, it is what it is type person.
Yeah.
And I've never understood why I was that way. And then now I understand that's faith. That's a faith
trust in him.
That God has built into me before I even knew God, before I was had a great relationship with him. That faith of it is what it is has always been there. Yeah. And that voice is always in my head of like, you can't control it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Amen, man.
You can't control it. Don't worry about it. And keep fighting the good fight, and eventually everything will be okay.
Yeah, that's true, man. Who are you taking for Super Bowl this year?
I don't think Tampa Bay is going to make it this year. I've got. I'm going to go out of left field. I think the Bills are going to turn it on at the end.
All right.
I think the Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. And I think the Rams are going to go to this. I think this would be Bills-Rams in the Super Bowl.
Bills-Rams.
I'm not a Bills fan. I would love for the Colts to turn it on at the end and go to the Super Bowl, but
Battle of the Horns.
Yeah, I think that Bill Belichick's done a good job again with the Patriots. But I think that the Bills will pull it out. I think they're a deeper team.
Right.
In the stretch.
We'll see if they make it, man. It's been cool hanging out with you, bro.
You too, man.
Cool talking. Thank you, everybody, for checking it out. Love you guys, and we will catch you next week.
Have a great week.
Peace.